And with that, we have come to an end of the Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival 2021. Thank you for being with us, and we hope you enjoyed the films on all 4 days. Kirloskar Vasundhara is now a knowledge platform, and this is actually not the end. We will meet each month from now on. We are joined by Sunita Narain as the festival draws to a close. Sunita Narain is the Director General of the Center for Science and Environment and the editor of the fortnightly magazine Down to Earth. She is a writer and an environmentalist. She began her work in the early 1980s, and in 2005 she was awarded the Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award of India. Sunita Narain has been with the Center for Science and Environment since 1982. She has devoted time to build the capacities of CSE so that it can function as an independent and credible organization, influencing public opinion and advocating change. She has been working actively on issues of air pollution, water, food, and climate change. She has been on various task forces, statutory bodies, and committees related to these issues. Let's hear her concluding remarks on the theme of the festival: food, health, and nature. And with that, we draw to an end of the film segment of the Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival 2021. Thank you for being with us. We hope you enjoyed the films. We are now joined by Sunita Narain as the festival draws to a close. Sunita Narain is the Director General of the Center for Science and Environment and the editor of the fortnightly Down to Earth. Let's hear her thoughts on the theme of the festival: food, health, and the environment.
I am delighted to be with you today at the Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival. This is remote, but this is the best we can do in these circumstances. I am very happy that I am able to be with you and to share some of our ideas with you on what is today such a critical issue: the relationship of our food with our lives. Something that we should understand. I mean, food is so personal. We know that. And yet, over the years, the way we have manufacturing our food, the kind of food that we are increasingly eating is both bad for the environment and it is bad for our health. There is no greater evidence of this than the current crisis in which we are living. We know that COVID-19 is the biggest disruptor in our lives. We have never seen anything like this. For most of us, we have not seen World War II. We have not seen this kind of devastation when a small bug, just think, it is not even a DNA, but an RNA, has brought the world to its knees, completely devastated economies, shut us all up in our houses, and today the death toll is huge. And all because of what you would call this extremely dystopian relationship we have with our food. Not 100% clarity on this, but it is more or less certain that the virus mutated from a bat to human beings. We have seen zoonotic diseases happening over the past many decades now. I mean, if you look at SARS, you look at the avian flu, and today you look at COVID-19. These are all evidences of the mutation of viruses from animals to human beings. Why is this happening? Because on one hand, we are totally destroying the relationship between animals and humans. A lot of the viruses are coming from the wild. The animals that we should not have been exposed to, but we are exposed to them today because we are going into the habitats of the wild animals. That is one. But there is another part to this story. A lot of the viruses are also happening because of our changing relationship with the way we are manufacturing food. There is now more and more evidence that the viruses are coming from, the zoonotic diseases are coming from the way we are manufacturing food, whether it is an intensive poultry or whether it is an intensive agriculture, industrial scale agriculture. Now, we know we need to grow more food. There is no doubt about it. We know we have to increase food production to meet the needs of all. But the question that we have to ask today is that what is that food which is good for the environment, and it is good for livelihoods, and it is good for nutrition. And that's the relationship between livelihood, nature, and nutrition that we need to bring back into the food that we have. And we have lost it. If you look at what CSE over the past some years has done, we have brought out what we call these books called first food. We deliberately call them first food because we said that they are not about fast food, but first food. And what is this first food? This first food are the recipes that we have from generations where we have eaten food which is local, which is biodiverse. And therefore, it was also good for nature. And this is something that we must come to understand how biodiversity, the very word biodiversity, is not just about plants. It is about cultural diversity. It is about the cuisine diversity that we had. Every part of India eats differently. Within every part of India, every region eats differently. Not because this is not an accident, but this is because of the biodiversity, nature's diversity, on which people learned to build recipes. And they built the recipes, they experimented with those recipes because they also were looking for food which was good for nutrition. They wanted to make sure that not only was it from nature, but it was good for nutrition. Something again, that knowledge we have lost. We have lost the ability to look at food as something that is good for our health, that food is medicine. And then, of course, comes the whole question of livelihoods, because that's critical. In this industrial food system that we have created, we have not thought of the livelihoods of the poor farmer. We have not talked about how we can actually build the livelihoods of people so that they can benefit from the food that we eat. We have thought about only paying not for food. We have discounted the cost of food, growing good food. Therefore, we have discounted the cost of environment, the cost of investing in soil, investing in water. We have built our food business as a business. And that business is not designed to actually work for our health and for the health of the environment. And that's really what we have to change. Many of you would have seen, we did a laboratory study looking at honey, the adulteration business in honey. Now, what should really worry us is not that we found that the business of adulteration was so sophisticated that they were actually mixing sugar syrup and passing it off as honey, or the fact that this sugar syrup manufactured in industry was capable of not being detected by the laboratories which was checking against adulteration. That should not only worry us. What should worry us is the fact that this business of adulteration was destroying the business and the livelihood of beekeepers. The entire story that we did started off because beekeepers came to us and said the prices crashed. They're getting no value for the honey that they're producing, and they were going out of business. Now, if the beekeeper goes out of business, bees go out of business. And if bees go out of business, then the entire role that bees have to pollinate our crops, to increase the productivity of our agriculture system, of our ecosystems, gets destroyed. So we have to make these connections, and we have to begin to see whether that honey that we need to have, because it is good for our health, that honey is not syrup, because if it is sugar syrup, it is definitely bad for our health. And we know that today with diabetes, and India is the capital of diabetes, as you know, and that combined with COVID, because with COVID, all this makes it much worse. And also we know with COVID that the risk is much higher if you're overweight, which means that sugar and junk food and all what we pass off as food today is actually not good and makes us more vulnerable to the pandemic and to the virus that is out there. But more than that, what it has to teach us is that what do we do to recreate that business in which local producers, in this case honey producers, local producers, maybe working at small scale, can actually bring their honey to us directly. They can benefit from it. They can earn from it. We need to look at their livelihoods. We need to build that business of good food. And the business of good food is one that is good for nutrition, our health. It is good for the health of the environment. Therefore, it is biodiverse food. It is food which is from nature, of nature, and does not destroy nature in the way it is grown today, whether it is because we are pumping in the food with pesticides or antibiotics or destroying rainforests because we want huge amount of meat production to happen. And of course, thirdly, it has to be good for the livelihood of farmers and for the food producers of our world. That is the definition of good food. So at the end, my message is really that good food is that food that we must celebrate. We must relearn the knowledge and the science of food as it was passed down from our grandmothers. We must start understanding its relationship with nature, and we must start recognizing the need to pay for food that we eat and put money in the hands of producers. That is the definition of good food. Thank you so much for asking me to speak at the closing ceremony of the Kirloskar Vasundhara International Film Festival. I'm really honored that I had the privilege of being able to speak to you and to share some of our ideas. And I do hope that we will all together work towards new definition of good food in which we can secure both the right to a clean environment and also the right to our health. Thank you very much.